Good day, ma'am. I'm Michaela Arnis Sibusanya. My topic is all about glaciers and soil. The first topic is glaciers. So, what is a glacier? A glacier is a thick mass of ice that covers a large area of land. Around 10% of the world's land area is covered by glaciers. Most glaciers are located near the north or south poles, but glaciers also exist high in mountain ranges such as the Himalayas and the Andes. So, glaciers are massive bodies of slowly moving ice. Glaciers form on a land, and they are made up of fallen snow that gets compressed into ice cover many centuries. They move slowly downward from the pull of gravity. So, how do glaciers form? Glaciers form from snow that doesn't melt even during the summer. When enough snow builds up, the weight of snow will compress and turn into solid ice. It can take hundreds of years for a large glaciers for form. So, um, glaciers begin to form when snow remains in the same area year round, where enough snow accumulates to transform into ice. So each year, new layers of snow bury and compress the previous layers. Glaciers move. Although glaciers are made of ice and appear to be sitting still, they are actually moving. The weight of a glacier will cause it to move slowly downhill, sort of like a very slow moving river. The speed of glaciers varies widely, with some moving as slow as a few feet a year, while others may move several feet per day. So glaciers move by internal deformation of ice and by sliding over the rocks and sediments at the base. So internal deformation occurs when the weight and mass of a glacier causes it to spread out due to gravity. So sliding occurs when the glacier slides on a thin layer of water at the bottom of glaciers. So type of glaciers. Scientists have given names to different types of glaciers. So here are a few of the main types. So the first one is calving. A calving glacier is one that ends in a body of water like a lake or an ocean. The term calving comes from icebergs and that break off the glaciers or calve into the water. If the body of water has tides, like the ocean, so the glaciers may also be called a tidewater glaciers. So, ice calving, also known as glacier calving or iceberg calving. So, is the breaking of ice chunks from the edge of a glacier. It is form of ice ablation or ice disruption. It is a sudden release and breaking away of a mass of ice from a glacier, iceberg, ice front, ice shelf, or crevasses. Next, cirque. Cirque glaciers form on the slope of mountains. They are also called alpine or mountain glaciers. Hanging glaciers form on the side of a mountain above a glacial valley. They are called hanging because they do not reach the valley where the main glacier is located. So a cirque is formed by ice and denotes the head of a glacier. So as the ice goes melts and thaws and progressively moves downhill, more rock material material is scarred out from the cirque, creating the characteristic bowl shape. Many cirques are so scarred that a lake forms in the base of the cirque once the ice has melted. Next, crevasses. Crevasses are giant cracks that occur on the surface of glaciers, typically where the glacier flows the fastest. So, crevasses is a deep crack, crevice, or fissure found in an ice sheet or glacier on Earth. So, the crevasses form as a result of the movement and resulting stress associated with the shear stress generated when two semi-rigid pieces above the above a plastic substrate have different rates of movement. Next, firn. Firn is a type of compacted snow that lies between the new snow and the glacial ice. So fern is a partially compacted. So it is a type of snow that has been left over from past seasons and has been recrystallized into a substance denser than um, neve. It is the ice that is at an intermediate stage between snow and glacial ice. So next, head. The glacier head is where the glacier starts. So a glacier head is the top of a glacier. Although glaciers seem motionless to the observer, they are in constant motion at the terminus is always either advancing or retreating. Next, terminus. The terminus is the end of the glacier. It is also called the glacier foot. So a glacier terminus, toe or snout, is the end of a glacier at any given point in time. Although glaciers seem motionless to the observer, in reality, glaciers are in endless motion and the glacier terminus is always either advancing or retreating. Next, ice cap. An ice cap is formed when ice completely covers an area of land such that no part of the land, not even mountain peaks, poke through the top of the ice. Ice field. An ice field is when ice completely con- covers a flat area. So an ice cap is a glacier. It is a thick layer of ice and snow. An interconnected series of ice caps and glaciers is called an ice field. Next, Piedmont. A Piedmont glacier is formed when a glacier flows into a plain at the edge of a mountain range. A polar glacier is one that is formed in an area where the temperature is always below the freezing point. A temperate glacier is one that coexists with liquid water. So the Piedmont glaciers occur when um, steep valley glaciers spill into relatively flat plains where they spread out into bulb-like lobes. Next, valley. A valley glacier is one that fills a valley between two mountains. So, a valley glacier is commonly originating from mountain glaciers or ice fields. These glaciers spill down valley, looking much like giant tongues. Valley glaciers may be very long, often flowing down beyond the snow line, sometimes reaching the level. Next, glacier features. First one, ablation zone. The ablation zone is the area below the accumulation zone where the glacial ice in this area there is a loss in ice that must due to ablation such as melting and evaporation. So the ablation zone or ablation area refers to the low altitude area of a glacier or ice sheet below firn with a net loss in ice mass due to melting, sublimation, evaporation, ice calving, Olean processes like blowing snow, avalanche, and any other ablation. Um, Next, accumulation zone. This is the area of the glacier where snow falls and accumulates. It is located above the ablation zone. It is separated from the ablation zone by the equilibrium line. So on a glacier, the accumulation zone is the area above the firn line, where snowfall accumulates and exceeds the losses from ablation, such as melting, evaporation, and sublimation. So the annual equilibrium line separates the accumulation and the ablation zone annually. Glaciers change the land. When glaciers move, they can change the land, creating many interesting geological features. Here are some of the geological features that are created by glaciers. First, arête. An arête is a steep ridge formed by two glaciers that erode on opposite sides of a ridge. So the arete is a sharp-crested ridge in Rug Mountains. Next, cirque. A cirque is a bowl-shaped landform in the side of a mountain made by the head of glacier. So cirques derive from relatively small glaciers and are characteristically bowl-shaped and bounded on an upslope shored by a steep head wall of rock. Drumlin. A drumlin is a long oval shaped hill created by glacial ice movement. So drumlin, oval or elongated hill believed to have been formed by the streamlined movement of glacial ice sheets across the rock debris or till. The name is derived from the Gaelic word drum, rounded hill or mound, and first appeared in 1833, the drumlin. Next, fjord. A fjord is a U-shaped valley between steep cliffs created by glaciers. So a fjord is a long, deep, narrow body of water that reaches far inland. Fjords are often set in a U-shaped valley with steep walls of rock on either side. Fjords are found mainly in Norway, Chile, New Zealand, Canada, Greenland, and the US state of Alaska. So horn is a pointy-shaped mountain peak created when many glaciers erode the same mountain top. So horns are pointed peaks that are bounded on at least three sides by glaciers. They typically have flat faces that give them a somewhat pyramidal shape and sharp, distinct edges. Moraine. A moraine is an accumulation of material called till. They are left behind by a glacier. Examples include rocks, sand, gravel, and clay. So a moraine is any accumulation or unconsolidated debris, sometimes referred to as a glacial till, that occurs in both currently and formerly glaciated regions, and that has been previously carried along by a glacier or ice sheets. Next one is tarn. Tarns are lakes that fill up cirques once a glacier has melted. Tarns are lakes that form in glacially carved cirques. They are often dammed by moraines. If they are still associated with moving glaciers, tarns are often full of tiny, glacially ground sediment that scatter light and can make the water appear colorful. So, this is the um, glaciers.